What's up, everybody? It's Alex and Marco, the Vagger brothers.
This week we're in London and we're talking street art. London is one of the artistic capitals of Europe with some of the best museums in the world, but the coolest art is outside.
That's because there's new street art popping up all over the place, especially in Shoreditch. So today we're going on a stroll down Brick Lane to speak with some of the people involved in the scene.
Shoreditch is the beating heart of trendy East London. Back in the day, it was a working class industrial neighborhood, but after being bombed by the Luftwaffe in World War II, it fell into disrepair.
Its factories and warehouses remained abandoned until they were taken over a few decades ago by artists in search of cheap rent for their studios.
Over the past 20 years, it's transformed into an open-air gallery for the world's best street artists and muralists. From the Bristol-born Banksy to local legends like D-Face and the international talent that keeps the paint wet month after month.
So first off, we met up with Dave of Shoreditch Street Art Tours, photographer, journalist, and street art aficionado who has been documenting the scene since its birth. We started by asking him a basic question.
So what's the difference between street art and graffiti? A lot of us might not know the difference.
Street art, I think, is about images. We are the audience for street art. Graffiti is about words and names, people's egos, right? We're not the audience. The audience for graffiti is other graffiti writers. Okay, so street art, images, graffiti, names and words. 10 years ago, when we became this global focal point, we were about the only place in the world where there was a market. Artists could come here. They could have shows, they could do street art, establish a reputation, they could make money in a way that they couldn't back home. And these walls just became a canvas for these artists to really kind of like let rip, do this outsider art that wasn't regulated or controlled, complete freedom.
You said people came here because they could make money, but now it seems like it's almost been carried like to the opposite extreme. We have Banksy's works being sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, is the question of money involved in this? Is corrupting it, or is it making it more accessible? What's happening?
Well, it's more accessible in terms of the audience, okay? There are people who move on to have these careers, they can make money. It's only a small little slice of the street art parish is doing that, okay? Behind that, there's always a new kid coming along with a punk idea about, I want to express myself, I want to say something on the walls, I don't have a show, I'm not an artist, but I'm going to put something on that wall.
Putting up art on the wall is exactly how local artist Citizen Kane got his start over a decade ago. And when we found him in Shoreditch, he was still at it.
I got into street art initially because I loathe the whole gallery process, and for me to put something on the wall, you've got an immediate audience for it, and you get really honest feedback.
What do you think about what's happening now with the street art scene here in Brick Lane and Shoreditch? I mean, there's a lot of people putting up stuff every day. We've seen 2 artists putting up installations today in a couple of hours.
It's a really healthy environment at the moment. There's a lot of really exciting stuff going up, and there's a lot of diversity, and I think that's got to be a great thing.
And now a lot of artists are working with permission, where back in the day it was just like in the dark with a hoodie on. Do you think that is something that compromises its roots, or is it something that allows the artistic medium to grow?
I've done a lot of illegal stuff, and I think the thing about getting permission to do is it allows you time to sort of express yourself a bit more. So now I can do bigger pieces because I've got permission to do it. And I think at the end of the day, you know, what are we doing? We're putting up art on the walls.
Well, it looks great. We'll let you get back to your work.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Really nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Last, we met with Pure Evil, a friendly artist with a deceiving moniker who's made the full transition from a skateboarder with stickers and stencils to a prolific artist working across mediums in his eponymous gallery in Shoreditch.
So we asked Pure Evil how the scene has evolved.
There were a lot of warehouses that were used for furniture manufacturing in this area. Those furniture companies going out of business. I had friends who were living in one of these warehouses, and they were all basically sleeping in this one open plan warehouse. 6 of you could get a warehouse and live pretty cheaply. So if you've got cheap rent, then you've got a good place for artists. So the fact that a lot of the area was in disuse, graffiti artists will find those areas and go in and paint. People will go and find a little back, sort of car park area off Brick Lane, and that will become a sort of, a sort of a wall of fame for people to do stuff. But I think street art and sort of gentrification go together. People who are developing and using street art to say this is an up and coming area because there's all this sort of people-friendly art that's kind of around. If you're able to pay the rent, then you can afford to stick around. If you can't, then you're getting moved out further and further and further. There was a point where everyone was just happy to sort of, drink beers and just paint. At a certain point, you just went, well, I kind of need more paint, and I need to be able to pay for, this, and this. Maybe we've all kind of grown up slightly. I don't have time to go and hang out and drink beer. I've got a baby and I've got a mortgage. And so maybe, as you grow up, you think, well, if I want to stick with this, then I need to be able to actually make a living from doing what I love.
Over the last decade, the street art scene may have matured, but despite gentrification, Shoreditch remains far from stale. For the world's most talented muralist, it's become a home. One that continues to evolve as it's constantly refreshed with new blood.
And as we left, we watched lesser known artists putting up their latest work, reminding us that in a place where the paint never dries, no two walks down Brick Lane can ever be the same. So hopefully you enjoyed that quick take on London street art. Big thanks to Dave from Shoreditch Street Art Tours for showing us around town. If you want to learn more about the artists we featured, check out their links in the info box below.
As always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to our channel for new travel videos every Tuesday.
Oh, you're still here. More videos from London. Food tour with the Food Busker right here, and pub crawl with the Craft Beer Channel.
And this one's the Gloucestershire Cheese Rolling Festival, so check them out if you haven't, and of course, subscribe to our channel. See ya.